Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the No Name Fit Game Episode 2. I'm Andrew Imber alongside Elliot Brownstein. Elliot, how's it going, my friend?
Oh, I am doing swell.
Great to be back on the air, huh?
It's about time, right?
Right?
Too long.
A week feels like a long time when you're ready to go for a podcast.
Yeah, you think you could just do it whenever, and then that kind of also alters it, right?
Yeah.
Just because you could do whatever, you're like, well, I got to do it another day.
And we can't do it every day. I think that would get a little old, but I think once a week is fair.
Oh, yeah, once a week is definitely good, I would say. There's only so much you could talk about and ramble on about before someone starts tuning you out.
Yeah, and hopefully that's not already the case here on Episode 2 of the No Name Fit Game, but I'm really excited to get things going. Last week, in case you missed it, was our first episode. We dared people to rename the show, and we got no suggestions. So I think that is saying everyone loves the name.
I would say so. It's kind of sticking, right? I think you kind of go with something, and then it just sticks. And right now, we're sticking with this.
I think you just kind of suggested it on a whim because we weren't happy with any of our show title options, and it worked.
Yeah, because you didn't like Fitness Apple.
Yeah, I mean, so Elliot came at me with the Fitness Apple, and I like the idea, and of course it has this subtle reference to hockey, Apple being an assist in hockey, but I think a title that you have to explain can lead you to trouble.
Yeah, but apples are delicious too.
They are delicious.
3 a day.
3 a day?
3 a day.
Is that what you do?
Yes.
Really?
3 apples a day.
What's your apple of choice?
Ooh, there's a bunch, but I do like the Golden Delicious and the Honeycrisp.
Nothing compares to a Macintosh for me.
That's disgusting.
Really? You don't
Yes,
like Macintosh
that
apples?
and the Fiji apple.
I don't like Fiji, but Macintosh have been my love apple for as long as I can remember.
Nah, I could pass on that one. It's too. I like the sourness of it, but
Exactly.
but I don't like the texture.
Huh. Too soft for you?
Yeah, it's very mushy.
It's very soft.
Yeah, it's mushy.
Huh.
Yeah.
Maybe
I can't
Love
do it.
Apple. Maybe that could be the show title. Love Apple.
Love apples. Yes.
All right. Well, we got plenty to talk about today and want to get into a variety of subjects here. But the first thing I wanted to talk about, not really related to fitness or diet or anything like that, but I think it does pertain to health. And it's something that's going around, and I'm sure everyone's seen it by now. This new trend of people either licking ice cream or using mouthwash and spitting it back into the bottle. I'm sure you've seen this, Elliot.
Yeah, I'm disgusted by it.
I mean, I think this pertains to the show because it has to have something to do with mental health, because clearly you have to have something
Yeah.
wrong to do this in the first place.
Or you're just an a-hole.
Is that the explanation, you think?
Yeah, because I don't think even mental people will do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I think mental people are like, no, that's kind of weird too.
Yeah. I mean,
That's just a jerk move. You know what I'm saying?
and it brings up a less important topic, but still something that's been on my mind for a long time now. I like ice cream. I don't have it very often just because of, health conscious reasons and stuff like that, but I do enjoy ice cream from time to time. And there are certain brands in the store that have no top. And this has always confused me, long before we had any of this ice cream licking trend. Why would you create a product that's so accessible to people and not create a top to go on top of it?
Like a plastic seal.
Yeah, a safety seal. Sorry, obviously everything has a top, but I'm talking safety seal.
Well, I know the Publix brand has that plastic seal.
Halo top has a seal.
Yeah, I think Byers, is it Byers or Breyers?
Breyers.
Breyers. I'm not an ice cream person. I will crap to bed if I have ice cream. So,
Not a Moo, which is a very tasty non-dairy version of ice cream, does not have a safety seal.
Okay.
And every time I get it, I'm like, I feel like I'm taking a chance here. I'll admit I'm not a full-fledged germaphobe, but I'm a minor germaphobe. I
am too.
tendencies.
Like when people sneeze, I don't say God bless you. I say that's gross.
Okay, so you're way worse than I am.
Yeah, and that's a jerk move. Like if people
That is.
we're
spreading love here.
Yeah, I can't stand the sneeze. I cannot stand the nose blower at the dinner table. Because people will blow their nose at restaurants, and I will move.
You'll move tables.
I will move tables because that's disgusting.
Wow.
You're not far away from the bathroom. Now, I can accept the sneeze because sneezes come unexpected.
Out of nowhere.
As long as you cover yourself,
Yeah.
But the blowing of the nose, that's got to go.
Okay.
I was traumatized when I was 13 years old, and that's what kind of led on to that whole blowing nose thing.
We'll probably get into that story eventually.
Yes.
Because we need to know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's horrible, and I hate having to repeat myself over it, but it's a story that needs to be told, and, people have to know why it's disgusting.
Let's come back to that a little bit later,
Yeah.
I think. Does that sound good?
That sounds great.
I mean, my thing with that is if I touch even a doorknob, in my mind, I've lost that hand in terms of touching my face and nose and mouth and all that stuff. Like, it's out until the next time I wash my hands. I don't know if that's a normal thing or if that's like a minor germaphobe thing.
See, are you afraid to get sick?
Yes.
Is
I
that
don't want
what
to
it
get
is?
sick.
See,
I don't want to get sick.
See, my germaphobe isn't about getting sick.
Okay.
Because I don't get sick. I explained this last week.
You did mention that.
I do not get sick. It's not something. I mean, I could have a person with the bird flu spit in my mouth, and I'll be like, okay, I'm good.
All right, so I guess we're going to get into this explanation a little bit earlier than we thought because now I'm just confused.
Well, the thing is, it just grosses me out.
Okay.
Like, it's not the germ. It's the fact that, like, body fluids that aren't mine are crossing onto my body. It's more like a space constriction thing, It's like, this is my bubble, and now you're coughing and sneezing all over me. And this is pretty disgusting right now. Like, someone, of course, I think if anybody can agree with this, if blood gets on you, you're just way flipping the hell out.
That could be an issue.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm going to have to get into why.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Because I was at Denny's eating a nice breakfast one day before school, and this old couple, and I'm sorry that they're old, but they were gross. They were very disgusting. They were sneezing and hacking all over the place. And I ordered the most delicious breakfast. I ordered like 3 eggs, hash browns, 4 pieces of bacon, 3 waffles, grits, like the works.
Long before the No Name Fit game was in mind.
Oh no, I was ripped. It was
You were ripped.
Oh yeah, it was carb day, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Got it.
It was just 1,000 calorie times 7,000 kind of day. But I had just ordered food, and I hate Denny's. But it's the only place that was open and close to my school, and the old lady sneezed, didn't cover her mouth, and the biggest green slimy thing came right out of her nose and was just chilling there. And I'm like, okay, I'm out.
That was it.
I paid for the food and left.
Wow.
I did not eat it because I could not fathom what I just saw. Like, I was 3 tables away and I saw what came out of her face and I was like, I'm out. I swear.
And that scarred you for life.
Yeah, I cannot deal with anyone blowing their nose or sneezing in front of me.
It's good to keep in mind.
And I'm pretty audible about it. Like, I was in Party City one time getting ready for my son's birthday party or Halloween, one of those, and this girl publicly sneezed right next to me, and I said, ew. And her mom was so bad. She's like, most people say God bless you. And I was like, most people don't sneeze on other people. But that's just me being rude. And other people being rude to me.
I don't know if that's rude if she sneezed on you. It was pretty close.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
I was so pissed. Oh, man.
Wow.
But back to the licking of the ice cream.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a jerk move.
What can you even say about it? I like what happened, though, out of this was people invented the new ice cream challenge, which was actually just taking the ice cream pint out of the freezer and putting it in your cart and giving a thumbs up to the camera. That's much better.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they were just grabbing it and then paying for it.
Well, yeah, eventually.
Yeah. just not licking it.
I mean, I heard, and I'm sure this is not going to end up being the case, but that one of the women who did this faces 20 years in jail, and there's been people arguing back and forth, oh, that's a little harsh. Oh, no, that's not harsh. She could have had a myriad of diseases. Where are you on the punishment for licking an ice cream pint and putting it back in the freezer? What punishment fits that crime?
Oh, like at least like a stoning.
A stoning.
Yeah, I'm prehistoric.
Okay, so to death or to just...
No, we're gonna throw some like hard, like frozen ice cream balls right at her face.
Some pints.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just you ever take like a scoop of ice cream and then you stick it in the freezer again and let it refreeze to where it's like really hard?
Sure.
And then just chuck it at them.
Okay. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, it's disgusting. Like, who the hell goes and licks the top of the ice cream? and then puts it back. Like, that's not cool.
That's a weird way to get your jollies.
Yeah, and like the mouthwash thing, that was even worse. Because at least with the
all up in
ice
your
cream,
mouth.
at least with the ice cream, you could kind of scrape the top of it.
You could take a machete and chop the first quarter of it right off.
Exactly. With the mouthwash,
It's all in
that's
there.
all. Yeah,
It's gone.
you're done. That's it.
You're right about that.
God, it's disgusting. Let's get back into healthiness.
Yeah, please, people, don't do this. If you do this, if you see somebody that does this, please get help. There's a number of institutions that can help you, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it needs to be
We just don't have their number.
But somebody does. So we may not have gotten a lot of show title suggestions, but we did get a lot of questions this week, and I want to, instead of just hitting like a mailbag, I want to get through it like one at a time, spread out throughout the show. I want to help individuals out throughout the show as they suggested interesting topics that kind of are good segues into different parts of the show. So we had two people who kind of had similar questions. Isabel wanted to know overall exercise routines, just general stuff, and Trace kind of clarified his realm to beginner diet and exercise for people who just want to get healthy. And I think this kind of, they kind of relate, because if you're asking for some health routines, you're generally on the beginning side of things, or looking to take it to the next level. So I think this is a good place to start. Beginner diet and exercise tips. And we can start with just exercise kind of stuff here. So when it comes to beginner exercise, I've always said, and this is one of the things that I learned through NASM, National Academy of Sports Medicine, is that the weight really doesn't matter at the beginning. Form is very important at the beginning. You want to keep a neutral spine. You want to make sure you're not extending limbs in weird positions. And you want to really make sure you're challenging your balance. So instead of a beginner laying down on a flat bench and doing a chest press with really heavy dumbbells, you're much better off laying on one of those big inflatable balls and just challenging your body's balance and moving a light amount of weight. In terms of cardio, just start walking, you know? There's never a place that's too slow to start, especially at the beginning, but you just have to jump into it, because the longer you wait, you know, it's never going to get any easier.
Yeah, I mean, for beginners, as far as exercise, I think diet, it's whether you're a beginner or a pro, diet's always going to be the same. I think exercise, it's different because there's different intensity levels for each body, and then there's different intensity levels for each experienced person. You know, there's the CrossFitters and the Ninja Fitters and the weightlifters, the boxers, whatever. As far as exercise, I always am a big proponent of light weights. You do not need anything heavy. If you want to be a bodybuilder, or, you know, like you want to go into strongman competitions all of a sudden after being 400 pounds or whatever, you just want to get into it, light weights. Because what Andrew said is correct about form. Proper form will get you everything you need to know. And I have a very advanced training procedures that I do, but it's actually very good for beginners. And what it is, it's a cross between mental and physical. And what I mean by that is that everything that I do, Monday through Friday, I do full body workouts. Okay. Now, that might seem odd to you, right? Like, that strikes you odd, full body workouts every single day?
Sure. I do 2 muscles at a time usually.
Right. So, and what I mean by full body workouts is I may have my arm day, or I may have my chest day, my back day, my leg day. But I will never sacrifice the full body, because whenever you're lifting, you're using your whole body, no matter what. Okay, tell me that a curl doesn't affect any part of your upper body, you're wrong.
Right.
Okay, so what I mean by that is, and I might have to, I think one day we should shoot a video of our exercises for everyone, so that we could really show what we mean. And that's, your mind has the capability of concentrating on your muscles so in depth. It's like that movie Limitless. Remember that movie?
I never saw
with Bradley Cooper. So he would take a pill and it could access 100% of his brain, because we only use about 10 to 20% of it.
Sure.
Okay, that's the gist of the movie. It's stupid. But with weight training, it's exactly like that. You can access 100% of your body if you take your bicep and let's say you're doing a curl, right? And you have a proper form, right? And you flex your chest muscle and you flex your shoulder and your back and you do that curl, you're building that surrounding area. It's not just your bicep. You're tightening up those muscles and you're strengthening up that bicep to full capacity to where, you know, your chest tightens up. It's strengthening itself. It's almost like strengthening your core. Like you do your ab workouts for balance and making sure you're properly set. It's the same thing. You could curl your arm and you could get those pec muscles and those back muscles going. And just by flexing it really, really tight, that's all you need to do. It's called time under tension is another way to put it.
Very familiar with that. Also, mind-muscle connection, too, is an important thing. So that's very much what you said. I mean, if you're able to feel it, it can be a lot more effective. Yeah,
like those guys that go into gym and bang out like 20 reps of 225 or whatever it is, like that's, I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate seeing it. Like, you do not need to go that fast. I never go that fast with anything.
Much less benefit. When it comes to beginner diet, I think it's a little tricky in some ways, but it's also, I think the slower you go, the better. When I started to go from, you know, I was one of the worst eaters out there. I brought in fast food. I had no idea about anything nutrition, and I made small changes. The first thing I did was I started adding water to my everyday life. I started bringing a water bottle to my classes, and I just started drinking more. And water has so many health benefits. It can fill you up. In addition to all the good things that it does flushing out in your body, just start by adding some water to your life. After that, you know, then you make some more simple changes. Remove the really bad refined sugars, the white breads, the stuff that just has so little nutritional value. Then you can start to get into, okay, I've made some changes. Now I'm going to make some more dynamic, bigger changes to my diet and stuff like that. But when you're just starting out, just doing things like adding water, removing soda and sugary drinks, removing sugar and refined flours from your diet can make so much of a difference on its own. You can lose weight just by doing that.
Yeah. That was my biggest thing with weight loss. And I always stress this to people. What is the only drink that was made, or not even made? What is the only drink that's never been made? It's just from origin. It's water.
Sure.
You know, food, you know, there's many elements of food that have been grown and that we kill stuff for. You know, sorry, vegans. But, you know, we kill animals for food. That's naturally there. But the only beverage that has ever been naturally in this world is water. So why wouldn't you drink that? You know, I eliminated sodas. I haven't drank a soda in 3 years.
Wow.
You know, another thing with soda, too, is not only is soda very sugary and high in sugar content, obviously, but the carbonation ruins your bones.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Like Coca-Cola is the worst beverage you could ever have because it deteriorates your bones. A lot of people can get osteoporosis and arthritis because that carbonation and the high acidity is going to kill your bones away. And that's a fact. And I know it's a fact because I drank a lot of soda. I drank like 7 cans of ginger ale a day just because I love ginger ale.
That's a lot.
And I don't love ginger ale anymore because my body doesn't ache anymore. My bones don't, like, I could sneeze and I could feel my bones hurting.
Do you gross yourself out when you sneeze?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm even grossed out when I sneeze. But your body aches from it because after you drink so much, you wonder why you're hurting and stuff. And, you know, it's because soda's deteriorating your bones. And that's really it.
So I hope, you know, those basic little topics can help out a little bit for some of you who are just looking to start on diet and exercise. And if there's any questions you guys have, anything specific, definitely you know where we're at. Definitely talk to us. We'll cover some topics on air. We'll cover some topics off air. You know, we're here to help. But what do you say we jump into a little wild and wacky here?
That sounds good to me.
All right, because I got a couple of stories here today. I actually got a few. A little bit shorter than last week, but I like this week's range here. So the first story that we have is Google Maps leads about 100 drivers into a muddy mess in Colorado. Drivers with smartphones these days don't often get truly lost thanks to navigation services such as Google Maps. But what happened in Colorado is a reminder that even with new technology, some shortcuts can still go very wrong. That's how nearly 100 drivers wound up in a muddy field gridlocked earlier this week. Connie Monsees said she was stuck in traffic on the way to pick up her husband at the airport. So I pulled out my Google Maps to see if there's a better way to go, and it told me to take the next exit and it would be about half the time, Monsees said. Naturally, she took it, but the road quickly becomes a dirt road. Days of rain had created a muddy mess of a field, she added, and car after car drove in and got stuck.
Car after car. Nobody decided to go, I'm not going to do that.
This is where we've come to. We are just listening to our GPSs. It's like that scene on The Office where Michael and Dwight are going to an appointment and they can't figure out the GPS, and Michael drives right into that lake. That I feel like that's where we're at right now,
Yeah.
Because I get that, I love Waze. I use Waze very often.
I use Way Isolate. I had to throw that in there.
But if Waze tells me to drive off the side of the highway onto oncoming traffic, I'm not going to do it.
I don't use anything.
Really? You're just do you have like a map in the car, one of those physical?
No, I mean, I don't use like a paper map. I'm not like that ridiculous. I look up the route, and I mean, I never need to GPS it. I mean, half the time, if I need to know where I'm going, it's probably like 3 or 4 roads anyway. I never understood the person that has the GPS plugged in for like a 4-hour ride to Orlando, and you're on one road for 5 of those hours.
Yeah.
Like,
5 of those 4 hours.
Yes. You said no math, all right? Come on. But, I mean, am I right? Like, you go in a car and they have the GPS plugged in. Continue on Turnpike. Yeah, I know.
And the best thing about that is when the GPS literally tells you, keep where you're going. I love that one. When you're coming up on a toll booth or something and it just says stay straight, it's like, thanks.
Yeah, we know. We're just paying. Okay, you idiot. I don't use GPS. I look at a map, and if I have to go back, I'll look back into the map and get the direction. I don't use Waze. And Google Maps is horrible with their time duration, because it always tells me, like, oh, it takes an hour and a half to BB&T Center. I'm like, I get there in 45 minutes. What are you talking about?
Arctic fox sets record in walking from Norway to Canada. A young female fox just shy of her first birthday stunned scientists by covering an unbelievable distance during a short 4-month trek. The animal traveled more than 2,700 miles from Spitsbergen, the largest island of the Svalbard archipelago of Norway, to Ellesmere Island in Nunavut, Canada. The journey is among the longest dispersal events ever recorded for the species. What was your biggest accomplishment before your first birthday?
Before my first birthday?
That's what the comparison is here.
I mean, it's a what? It's a dog?
It's a fox.
It's a fox.
It's a
dog. It's a dog. So you got to times 7.
Okay, what's your first accomplishment before 7?
I survived spraying myself with pepper spray. I'm going to go with that.
I think you're a little bit like, if the fox is on the top shelf, you're somewhere in the middle.
No, I'm on the bottom. I mean, 1, I should have never sprayed myself with pepper spray, and 2, it's not really an accomplishment to survive it.
2,700 miles just walking on ice.
That's not bad. I mean, you're a fox. Like, I don't.
What else are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
You're taking away from it.
It's not like he's trying to raise money for charity.
Female fox. She.
Sorry. Whoops. Well, I mean, we identified her. She didn't identify herself. We're just going real chaotic.
Scientists identified her.
But I mean, she's not. It's not like she could go get an Xbox or, you know what I'm saying? Like, foxes walk constantly. Wolves, that's all they do. Right? I mean, I don't think of it as a big deal.
So you're taking the cop out here of what else are you going to do? Excuse.
Yeah, I mean, come on. If we didn't have radio, what the hell are we going to do?
Walk 2,700 miles?
I would.
Okay.
I got nothing to do. I'm going to walk. All
right.
You have no bills to pay? You got nothing? Wouldn't you travel?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what the fox did.
Okay. Simple life, right?
What does the fox say, though?
The fox is tired after 2,700 miles, and it's not speaking right now. Last story. A travel nightmare, waking up cold and alone in a darkened plane. Ever had a nightmare in which you wake up at night alone, strapped in a seat in a completely dark and freezing cold room with no means to contact anyone? That's the story Air Canada passenger Tiffany Adams told about what was supposed to be a simple 90-minute flight from Quebec City to Toronto Pearson International Airport earlier this month. Adams, who has since been experiencing anxiety and insomnia, wrote that she fell asleep in a row of seats on a nearly empty flight, and by the time she woke up, the plane had arrived at its destination and had been parked away from the nearest terminal. No one else was on the pitch-black plane.
What? That sounds scary.
Now,
I thought you were going to go into like a sleep paralysis
No,
story.
I mean, this does have its ties in mental health for sure, because we're talking anxiety. To be sure, that is, she's entitled to that after an experience like this. I love escape rooms. I mean, I'm one of the biggest escape room fans out there. At least once a month, I love to go and try out a new room.
Really?
This seems a little too real.
Mm-hmm.
Like they could make this an escape room, but it would be a little too creepy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because escape rooms, like there's no way that I'm getting locked in here forever, and this is some elaborate Saw 9.
Right, like Jigsaw's coming out. Yeah. I mean,
you've got 60 seconds.
This is weird, though. Could you imagine falling asleep on a plane, you wake up, and there's no one there? It's dark, it's pitch black. You don't even know where you are because it's been pulled away from the terminal now. That's creepy.
You realize I have to go on a flight in like 12 hours,
Ooh,
right?
that was bad timing.
You know what else was bad timing? And I'm going to explain how I feel about this in a second, but last night, lightning hit a boat on the Boston Harbor, exploded the crap out. I
just saw that.
Yeah, and guess who's flying to Boston?
Ugh.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm getting screwed over here with my fear of heights and lack of control.
Yeah.
And going on a plane into a nice little thunderstorm in Boston, I'm real scared. But that has to be worse. Because like a lightning, getting struck by lightning, it's like, okay, 1 in a 714 chance. But that right there, even though it's rare, it's a lot more scary.
Yeah, I mean, and I read more of this story, and it said that her phone was dead. There was nowhere to charge it, and her only way out was a 40-foot drop out of the plane. So what ended up...
That's not too bad, right? How bad is 40 feet? That's probably this, right? Because we're 5 stories high.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably not surviving that.
Got to go lake first, right?
I'm guessing the plane's not over a lake.
Yeah, but lake first anyway?
Oh, did you say leg first?
Yeah,
I thought you said lake first. No. I was like, where's the lake?
No.
Yeah, okay, so you just have no legs for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I'm going to look up what's the farthest,
farthest fall you can survive?
Yeah.
I'm interested.
Because I've heard people survive skydiving failures. And that's why I don't go skydiving, because I have the fear that none of my parachutes are going to open.
The James S. Murray fear?
And I'm going to hit the ground and be alive and just be mush. And I'm like, great, I should have just died. But no, I'm stuck here as a mush.
Actually how she got out of this, though, I read, is she flashed some flashlight or something into the window, and eventually a worker saw the lights in the airplane and came to her rescue.
That's not too bad.
It's a happy ending.
What lights?
There must have been a flashlight on the overhead or something.
Really? She got lucky.
Yeah.
I would have punched a window out and just screamed.
Because
they were just pulling it away from the terminal, like off on the trolley, right?
I believe it was long past that. I believe it was sitting away from everybody by itself, parked.
At least it was parked. At least you weren't on a flight to like Malaysia or something, Let's see. Let's look up. I guess what longest survived fall. I would go.
I'm curious.
Longest survived fall. Highest fall survived without a parachute. Let's see. See, we're not just health and fitness. We want to know.
Oh, we're inquisitive.
Yeah.
Nothing if not inquisitive.
Okay, Vesna Volovich. She fell.
Not who the Vesna Trophy was named after, by the way.
Yeah, no, not at all. She fell 10,000 meters and survived. 10,000
Okay, now I don't know meters to anything.
To feet. That's about a lot.
Yeah. I don't even know if we need to convert this to know that that's way more than it should have been.
I'm going to say it's about a good 7,000 feet, right?
Over a mile? I guess anything's possible.
Yeah, because I mean a 5K. Yeah. Oh no, it's just under a mile.
Oh, well, that's all.
It's 3,333.
She only fell 3,000 feet.
Oh no, 33,000 feet. Yeah,
33,000 feet.
I read that wrong. Yeah.
So she fell
without a parachute apparently.
Well, 5+ miles? I don't know.
Yeah, she was in hospital for 16 months after emerging from a 27-day coma and having many bones broken.
How about all the bones?
Yeah, I mean 99%. I mean, what bone is technically survived?
That is a fascinating story.
According to an explosion tore a DC-9. She was working aboard to pieces in midair. Volovich was the only survivor.
Really?
Yeah.
Color me surprised.
Yeah, and it looks like it's a real story, too.
Yeah, I know, right? We're going to see this is The Onion or something after the fact.
Oh, I'd be so mad. Yeah, oh, no, it was Guinness World Records. I just read it on.
Wow.
Yeah, so. Wow. Yeah, so there you go.
Nothing if not educational on here.
Don't bet on it, guys. Don't try this at home. Let's put that disclaimer out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've established don't try anything at home unless we're talking fitness and diet advice. Outside of that,
yeah,
though,
unless
these
we
wild,
tell you try
the wild
this
and
at
wacky
home.
is do not try at home.
Yes.
The wild and wacky is the biggest disclaimer of do not try.
I think
at home.
I'm gonna make a disclaimer so that when we start the segment, it says do not try this at home.
Yeah, we'll voice that over.
Yes. Oh man. So that's it for Wild and Wacky?
I love the wild and wacky, but yes, that's all I have. So I think it's only fair to get into another listener question this week. And Rudy had a couple of questions that I'd like to touch on. They're not related at all, actually, but I want to touch on both of them. He wants to know exercises for losing weight without gaining much muscle in the process, as well as motivational help for when you just can't find that motivation. I think these are two really good questions because there are plenty of people out there. They want to get in a healthier shape. They want to get better. But they don't want to put on a ton of. They don't want to get bulky, so to speak. You hear this all the time.
Right, you just want to cut up, lean out, lose some weight, not even gain muscle.
Exactly.
It's just you want to look thin.
Right.
Yeah. I
There's
mean,
nothing wrong with that.
And that's kind of where I've been going. Like, I still got a chubby butt, but I'm trying to just lose weight. That's
right.
it. It's, just maintain.
So, I think we can definitely both give our thoughts and opinions on this one here, but I think this is obviously that definition of low weight, high reps kind of thing. So you're not going to want to hit 3 reps of 100 pounds. You're going to want 20 reps of 5 pounds kind of thing. So you're going to want to do those bicep curls with very little weight. You're going to want to do, your chest press with very little weight. You're going to want to hit cardio because cardio is going to keep you thin. Mm-hmm. You want to hit that high intensity interval cardio because you really want to take off some of those calories and stuff. But yeah, that's my tips for losing weight without gaining a lot of muscle is definitely low weight, high reps, a lot of cardio, and definitely taking care of your diet.
Yeah, I think the only alteration I would make to yours is I would go from high reps on the low weights. You want to stick with low weights, obviously, but I would go to moderate reps because a lot of bodybuilders use the high reps to expand out their muscles because the more reps you do, the more time under tension and all this other stuff, or not time under tension, but just
you're working it. You're constantly working
more
it.
Exertion to the muscles, so it ends up building up anyway to a bigger spot than you want. The cardio, if you look at these guys that run the 5Ks, the 10Ks, and stuff like that, what are they? They're thin as hell with nice calves.
They run and run and run.
Yeah, so running is the best way. Obviously, if you want to just start out with walking and high-paced walking, hill climbs are great. Hill climbs are the best.
Yeah.
I'll set that thing to 15 and walk my little hiney up that hill like I'm Rocky and, go to town on it. But I would go light weights, moderate reps, about, 12 to 15 each,
I think that's a good number.
Yeah. Yeah, because, like when I'm trying to bulk up and do the light and cut at the same time and do that hybrid, I hit about 25 reps.
Okay.
Like 15 pounds on 25 reps, you're going to build some damn muscle.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So,
so that's a fair point.
Yeah, you want to keep it moderate. Eventually you're going to build muscle anyway, and you're going to tone out, but don't feel discouraged just because you are building that muscle. Your body's just going through a lot of change, and that will go to the motivation thing.
Yeah.
Because he asked about motivation, right?
For sure.
What motivated you? That's the biggest thing.
So, different things motivate different people, and I have a lot of sources of motivation. One of it definitely comes back. I really think you're very much dependent on your environment, especially at a younger age. So I had a super mom. She, worked. She came home. She went to the gym. She cooked dinner for everyone. She did it all. So when I was looking at this and I'm like, okay, she can work these 8-hour days. She can cook for everyone. She can take care of the house. And she's getting to the gym. It was kind of like, what's my excuse? So I think when you see it and someone directly near you is going to the gym constantly, I think that's a great source of motivation. Now, I get not everyone has that. So another thing that's always been a motivating factor for me is every single person's perspective and point of view about me motivates me in a different way. So there's a small but very loyal faction out there of people who believe in me. No matter what I do, they support me. They think I can do anything that I set my mind to.
I'm not one of them.
There you go. But for those people, I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it to prove them right. I'm doing it because that means a lot to me, and I don't want to let them down. There's another group, and I'd like to think that it's a small faction out there that actively doesn't think that I can do things, whether it's in announcing, whether it's fitness. What are you going to chime in here with?
That's me.
Okay. So for the group of active people that don't believe that I can do something, that also motivates me because I want to prove them wrong. I want to show them that I can do anything that I set my mind to, and I'm specifically sometimes training to prove these people wrong. And there's what I like to call the biggest faction out there of people who don't give me a second thought. They look at me, I'm an average Joe, that's it, not a second glance. It's what I call the indifferent perspective. I want these people to take notice. I want them to regret ever just looking me over, not thinking much of me, not necessarily being, a detractor, but just not paying me any attention. This is a constant driving force for me is the ignoring. The people who just think there's nothing special about me. I'm there, even if it's not true, to prove them that I can do something special and that I can take, whether it's ninja training to the next level, being a better announcer. I want to show them that they have to take notice, that there's something to take notice about. So I've always said, whether you believe in me, that motivates me. If you don't believe in me, that motivates me. If you don't give me a second thought, that motivates me. That's why I always encourage people to tap into that, whatever it is, whether you're encouraged by people who believe in you, whether you're angry that people don't believe in you, or whether you just can't kind of wrap your head around how many people just don't even care. That's what I think that people really need to take as motivation.
That's pretty deep. So you go more on the cause and effect style. You have a cause that affects how you operate, right?
I've had specific people in mind when I'm trying to bang out a couple extra reps and I'm like, I need that little to push me over. There's specific people in mind where I'm just like, you know what? Thank you. I needed that.
Yeah, I got you. I can't say I know what motivates me. I won't say because before it was always I want to prove somebody wrong. I want to make sure I do this and do that because stick it to the man. Screw you, Vince McMahon, going into my WWF days. But I don't know. Sometimes, honestly, music motivates me.
Oh, I agree with that. I always have my playlist always, going. Yes.
Yeah, there's some
music,
kind of,
music.
Motley Crue, whatever type of rage, hate breed or something going on. Wrestling music usually gets me. I'm a dork, so But I don't know what exactly motivates me to do what I do, but me. That's really the only way I can.
You do it for you.
I motivate myself. And if, and another way we could look at it is if you're not looking specifically to have a reason to have you motivated and you just want to get something to motivate you, the biggest thing is if you're an unselfish person, which I hope you are, if you're unselfish, go on YouTube and watch these success stories. Watch motivational success stories like, The Pursuit of Happiness or Rocky, Rudy, which, happens to be your name as
300. Yeah.
300, yeah.
That's a great point, though.
Although I hated Rudy the movie, but it was because it was, a fib. But, you have to realize that it's a movie, so you go back to that. Watch something where it really pushes you to the fact of, okay, this may be a movie, but this is what motivation is. This is what an upping is, an upbringing.
Sure.
So watch that stuff. And watch real stuff too, like Coco Gauff, or I don't know how to pronounce her name, the tennis star right now. She's 15 and she's running through the Wimbledon right now. And you gotta embrace it. You gotta be like, okay, wow, this 15-year-old's doing this, or what about the disabled veteran that's running track or running these 5Ks and after losing their legs and having prosthetics. Like, watch that stuff and realize that there is no excuse in life to live the way that you feel that you should be living, or shouldn't be living, because I won't ever say that you're wrong if you want to live a lazy life, because if that makes you happy by not going to the gym and eating whatever you want, that makes you happy. But if you want to change that, but you don't know how and you don't know what can motivate you to make that change and to be, I hate to say the word a better person, but to be a better version of yourself that you want to be,
sure,
that you want to see yourself in the mirror, that should be it. It should always be self. You should look in the mirror. And the person that taught me this was Elliot Hulse. Don't go to his YouTube because you should be listening to us every week. But he motivated me. Like, he changed, like, I was fat. He explained, be the best version of yourself. That's the only way to look at it. It doesn't matter. Quit being, a jerk off to yourself. If you want to envision yourself the way you want to see yourself in the mirror, then do whatever it takes.
The last piece of motivation that just sticks in my head, and this is something that I've told people before. I think it's something that rings very true for me. If you do nothing else in a day but hit the treadmill for 10 minutes, get your weights on, do something active and fit, if you've done nothing else in that day, you can take that from that day. That's something that no one can take from you. So if you feel like you didn't get enough accomplished in a certain day, let's say you had a day off, nothing's going on, but you're like, hey, I'm not feeling really accomplished today. If you just go and do a quick workout, that's something that no one can ever take away from you. That's something that day to day you're getting better and you're improving. So reach for that.
Isolating yourself from that goal is the way to look at it.
So hopefully that helps you, Rudy. We're going to get back into some questions in a little bit, but I know you talked to me earlier this week. You wanted to discuss the Elliot's parent challenge, I believe you called it. I want to hear more about this.
Yeah, I just made up the name of it, and I think it was called the Too Busy Parent Challenge.
Hopefully better, less destructive than the ice cream challenge.
Yeah, no, trust me, there will be no ice cream licking for other people to go ruin your life. Let's see, what did I call it? Oh my gosh,
I wrote it down as Elliot's Fit Parent Challenge.
Is that what you wrote it down as?
Yeah, but I'm not sure that's a direct quote.
Oh, Busy Parent Challenge.
Okay.
Like, I made it up and I can't remember the name of it. So
it's more important what it's about.
If you tune this out right now, I can understand why. No, but it's the Busy Parent Challenge. Okay, so I'm a dad. In case nobody know, I have an 8-year-old. Well, he'll be soon to be 8 because he's about to yell at me for calling him 8 years old. But since the summer has hit, I can't hit the gym. I have not hit the gym once. And I've hit a lot of carbs since he's been around. Because one thing as a parent, if the kid doesn't finish the food, who finishes it for them? Because you don't want to throw it away. This guy.
We talked about that last week with you.
Yeah, because I can't do leftovers.
You can't do that, yeah.
So, and I'm sure a lot of parents eat off their kids' food. Like, oh, they're not going to eat it. I'll eat it anyway.
Sure.
Screw it. And a lot of parents, especially moms, after they have a kid, a lot of them, have, the weight issues and stuff like that. They gain some weight from having a child, and that's no bar on you because, you made something beautiful. But for the parent that wants to get fit and just doesn't have the time because you work, you have a child, you don't have time to go, or you don't want to put your kid in the child daycare at the gym because it's just too long of a day for them and you feel bad. And I understand that because I won't do that to him. He's in summer camp all day. Like, why would I stick him in an hour-long day camp, just for me to go work out. Like it's, I feel it as selfish,
Okay.
So my busy parent challenge is creating a proper diet. Again, making sure I don't give into my kid's needs. No, making sure I don't give into his leftover food or whatever he wants to eat. Let him eat, but don't dive into I have to eat just as bad as him. You could get the salads and you could still eat your salads and stuff like that. The biggest thing for me is, how do I exercise? Diet's not just going to cut it sometimes, for different bodies. Diet will help cut out a lot, but you want to exercise. You want to keep motivated. And parents, the biggest thing that you have an issue with is what? You're tired. You are tired. And we touched on it a little bit last week.
That doesn't mix well for the gym.
No, if you're tired and you don't want to take your pre-workout in the afternoon, because then you're gonna be wired. I mean, for me, I'm not. I'll still be able to go to bed. But when you go with your diet, I'm gonna start this real quick, because if you're tired, you don't have time to exercise and all this stuff, you have to go on a diet plan that benefits you. And we spoke about this, how the eggs make me tired.
Yes.
Right? So I looked up foods, and all these foods have tryptophan in it. Okay, which is going to make you tired. And a lot of people go on these diets thinking that it's going to help them out, but they have no energy for the gym. So then they're wondering what's going on. I'm too tired. I'm not losing weight now and stuff like that. But you want to avoid those breakfasts with dairy and eggs. So because you're just gonna be more tired, and then you don't have any energy to do anything. You're tired. You're like, okay, well, I'm dieting. Why aren't I feeling better? Because you had those things with tryptophan and you're killing your body, your already overworked body.
It's ironic because we actually talked about tryptophan last week. It comes up again.
Yeah, and it's actually bigger than you think. You want to go with a fruit diet, superfoods. So you want to go with kale, a lot of greens, kale, broccoli, all that stuff. Raspberries, strawberries. Make yourself a smoothie. One of the most beneficial things for me was making a smoothie, avoiding sugar. I would make what was it? It was ice. Ice, got to add that in there. Ice, raspberry, strawberries, bananas, and blueberries. And sometimes pineapples. I love pineapples. But sometimes the texture gets real weird. But anyway, get those fruits and you'll be good. That'll give you your energy throughout the day. That should be your breakfast, that little smoothie shake, and maybe like a Slim Jim or something. Like, honestly, Slim Jims are really good for you, and jerky. I eat a ton of jerky. Do that. Eat your salad throughout the day, stuff like that. And just make sure you avoid those tiring items. Maybe chicken at night just because you're going to bed anyway. Don't eat nuts or dairy because that's high in fat and it'll sit in your stomach if you eat that before bedtime. So that's done with the diet plan. Avoid things with tryptophan and high melatonin in it. For exercise, you want to go with running, obviously. And it's going to be tough because you're like, okay, well, I have an infant. I can't leave them alone to go run, because at least my son's at an age where I can be like, hey, dude, I'm going for a quick run, and that's it. Too bad. Going around the neighborhood, going to make a quick run for it. But if you're a parent, like, I would go invest in 10-pound weights, 7-pound weights, 5-pound weights, whatever it is. And there's a couple exercises you could do, and you could look these up on YouTube and stuff like that, like at-home exercises, and these will be beneficial. The biggest thing is half hour. That's all you need is 30 minutes, and it's not going to be these 30-minute six-pack abs kind of deal. It's just going to be 30 minutes. I'm moving my butt and my tuchus so that I could look where I want to be. And it's the exercises I do, honestly, is I grab 10-pound weights and I do a ski row, like as if I'm mocking me going skiing with the sticks. I don't know.
I've done that too. Yeah. It's like it's a version of a tricep kickback.
Yeah, exactly. So you just do that. You kind of want to move your whole body with it. Do a lot of the reverse crunches with your legs. A lot of leg ups and stuff like that. But you want to do stuff that you could do at home and that's real easy. So for me, I have my son. I can't go to the gym. I'm struggling with my diet right now because he wants to eat McDonald's and Chili's every day, and chips and salsa from Chili's is undeniably delicious.
It is.
So it's hard for me to hold back on that. I'm like, yeah, bring over that third plate of chips and salsas.
Fill it up.
Since it's unlimited. But
Fill it up again.
My suggestion is just get that diet right and find some at-home remedies with the 5, 10, 15 pounds. If you can handle 50 pounds, do 15 pounds and just do some half-hour exercise. You could do it literally in your kitchen or living room. And, I'm going to do a challenge where I'm going to try to lose 15 pounds within 30 days, starting from today. Actually, no. Let me starting next week. Let me go, because I got to go to Boston. I'm not going to miss out on some good Boston food.
Fair enough.
Okay. So we're going to go next week. Next week's what? The 14th?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, July 15th. My birthday's the 27th. Don't forget about my present. 15 pounds, 30 days on the 15th.
We're going to keep track of it.
15, 30, 15. That's what we're going to call it. The
Okay.
Busy Parent Challenge, 15, 30, 15.
And I'm not going to get too much into this because I'm not a parent. I don't like commenting on things that I have no experience with and trying to tell you guys what to do because I have no clue. But I will say that not everyone out there has to lose 15 pounds in 30 days. Just join Elliot's challenge by losing a couple of pounds,
Yeah, no, this isn't about beating me. If you want to beat me, that's awesome. I would, I guarantee you won't beat me.
Oh, dropping the gauntlet.
Yeah, boom. But no, I want you to see how this is going to work out for you. Try it. You lose pounds, you lose pounds. It's not about losing more than me, less than me, whatever. If you lose 7 pounds, that's still good for 30 days.
That's very good. That's fantastic. So I want to get into a couple more questions before we get off the air here today. And it's somewhat related because, one of the things that I know parents struggle with a lot is sleep. Clearly, it's a big issue. And we had a couple of questions this week about sleep. I know Elena wrote in with a question about how to modify a sleep schedule, and Rob talked a bit about, just generally sleeping more than 4 or 5 hours because he can't anymore. And I would definitely recommend that people go back and listen to the first week's episode because that was when I kind of gave my regular, just general sleep tips, whether it's a little bit of melatonin, working on your sleep hygiene. So when it comes to modifying a sleep schedule, because that's more specific, that's different than what we touched on last week. My tips for modifying your sleep schedule, because it's a very difficult thing to do. You can get lost in the cycle of, I can't sleep. I'm laying here again. I'm not sleeping again. I know I'm not going to fall asleep when I try. It's rough, man.
And it's delicate, too. Sleep is very delicate.
For sure.
You can mess up a lot of things.
Yeah. So one thing that I've definitely learned that seems to work is to get up at the same time every single day. Now, I know that can be difficult when you're not sleeping because you want to just lay there and get your 8 hours, even if that means staying in bed until 2 in the afternoon and stuff like that. But what I have found is that if you just get up at the same time, you take care of the back end of sleep, the front end starts to work itself out because your body needs a certain amount of sleep. And granted, I know there are conditions where it just doesn't happen and it's really difficult. But the more you train your body to get up at the same time every single day, your body is going to learn to tack that on the other side of that to get your 8 hours.
I think waking up at the same time is good. I don't know if I do that or not. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if I could say I agree with it, but the question is more for modifying sleep to get better sleep, right?
Yes. So
that's so tough because each body, reacts to waking up, or sleeping in many different ways. And, the best thing to do is obviously consult a sleep specialist to
see.
And because I have sleep apnea, I always tell everyone, see if you have sleep apnea, because that's so dangerous and that could be affecting you as well. If you don't and you're perfectly awesome and you just need some sleep remedies, my thing is don't eat before going to bed. Always be on an empty stomach or an empty bladder. And also make sure that I'm trying to figure out how I want to word this. It's like, what do I do? It's like, okay, well, I do some weird crap. So, besides making sure you go to sleep at a certain time every night to get the proper 8 hours. And honestly, I don't survive on 8 hours. I survive on 4 or 5 hours and I'm good. But
it would be important to recognize that that's not healthy for the average human being.
Yeah, that too.
You don't want to strive for 4 to 5 hours.
We are not suggesting that, once again.
Definitely not. I would be a wreck on 4 to 5 hours.
Really?
Personally.
Really?
100%.
Wow.
I average probably close to 8.
I think the biggest thing is to step away from caffeine products.
Yes.
And I know you're big on not taking pre-workout.
Never.
And I'm big on pre-workout, and I take pre-workout before I go to the gym, and I usually go to the gym in the afternoons, but I still fall asleep around, 11 o'clock and get around 8 hours of sleep because I wake up at 7. That's another thing too, is that a lot of people, they wake up at, 7 o'clock in the morning for work and stuff like that. And that 8 hours of sleep is falling asleep at 11 o'clock at night. Most people think, like, I need to go to bed at 9 to get 8 hours. But no, you're actually oversleeping. So make sure that whatever time you get up, that's where the 8 hours starts. Not from, okay, well, if I go to bed at 9, that should be 8 hours, right? A lot of people don't do the math there.
Right, but I also think that a lot of people struggle with, I don't fall asleep for 2 hours. So I need to be in bed for 10 hours because otherwise I'm not going to come close to 8 because I know the first 2 hours I'm going to be staring at my ceiling fan. And I get that, and I sympathize with that because for years I was the exact same way. And again, I'd encourage people to go back and listen to episode 1 because I talked about how I went from going from 2 or 3 hours a night of just sitting there to falling asleep almost instantly every single night. And again, for me, it's a combination of a small dose of melatonin, better sleep hygiene, and the blue light blocking glasses. And we've talked about it, not everything's going to work for everybody, but these are things that I think are at least worth a try. They're not destructive habits. They can only help you. And if they don't work out, we'll attack it and go another direction.
Yeah. I mean, and this is kind of opposite of you. I mean, my biggest thing was turning off the TV.
Right.
Making sure the TV's off. There's no distractions. I use a lot of breathing techniques. Like, I relax my body.
That can be very helpful.
If you just breathe for like 10 minutes and just like chill out, you're good.
I've worked on a lot of those deep breaths as you're preparing to go to sleep, just slowing your heart rate. That can be very helpful.
Yeah. I mean, just slow it down. Like, a lot of people, they're just like, okay, think about it. Like, a lot of people go to bed, they're just like, I gotta go to bed. I gotta go, because
it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because they say, I feel like I'm not going to fall asleep tonight. I'm so nervous. That's exactly what ends up keeping them up. And again, I know I'm not saying this in a way that's blaming anybody because I've been there too, and I understand what a struggle that it can be, but you've got to find a way to break that because feeling anxious about going to sleep is going to be the number one reason why you don't fall asleep.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, going into bed with that, like, you have to do it. It's almost like you're trying to reach a running goal, but it's sleep. You shouldn't be going at it with exercise mentality.
Right. So I hope that helps you, Elena, and a little bit Rob. If you guys listen back to week 1 and this week, I hope that we start to work on your sleep issues again. If there's any issues you guys have, anything specific you want us to go over next week, never hesitate to reach out and ask us. We'll definitely do our best to help you with any personal experience. We'll research for you. Anything we can do to help you, we're going to do. Got a couple more questions I want to touch on before we get off the air here today. Jeff wrote in, and I think we can answer this one relatively quickly, but I think it's a really good question. Jeff wrote in, what to drink and not drink when getting into shape. Now, we touched on this briefly earlier about how it's water, water, water.
Yeah.
But it's really, a lot of people see these drinks out there, and I'm guilty of this too. I love a good juice. I see the Naked products out there, the Odwalla products out there, and they're delicious, and they do have some really nice things in them, some nice sources of fruit and stuff like that, but they do have an extreme amount of sugar and an extreme amount of calories, and you might not even realize that you're destroying your entire workout consuming these calories in with what you thought was a healthy sugary beverage. So this is a real issue.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love cranberry juice.
Yeah.
Like,
which also has good benefits.
Yes, no UTIs here, no
exactly.
No stones in my bladder, or kidneys, whatever, But I mean, the sugar in it is like, oh God, like, how can I drink this? There's so much because you're trying to. The whole point of you kicking out soda is what? Because of the sugar.
Eliminate that sugar, yeah.
And then you're just like, well, I'll drink some juice to that, or I'll drink some sweet tea to that. No, you're not switching anything.
Right.
So that's the first thing is like realizing that sugar is also in these juices and also in this other stuff. Like, if you look at Naked, I mean, there's 54 carbohydrates or grams of carbohydrates in those drinks. And I'm like, I steer clear of those.
You can easily take in more calories in your beverage choice than your food choice sometimes, and that's crazy. To me.
No, it's astronomical. And my beverage choice, And this might sound weird because I mean, it's the only way for me to eliminate sugars is I go with BCAAs.
Okay.
I drink BCAAs constantly.
Branched chain amino acids for those, listening.
Yeah. So I hit those with, I mean, I have my bottle or my scooper at home and stuff like that, and I have the scooper at work because I don't want to drink soda and I don't want to drink juice because there's sugar. But if the BCAAs can help me out with that, I'm going to drink that.
Right. So I think the long and the short, or the short of the answer is water, 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 and nothing else would be the easiest way to say how to drink and be healthy. But obviously, I think it's important to recognize that just like there are cheat meals, it's okay if you have a soda or if you like to drink to have an alcoholic drink on the weekends or whenever you want to splurge a little bit. That's totally okay. But if we're talking consistency throughout the week, water's your friend. And for me, if you get to the point where you're exercising a lot, sometimes I get muscle twitches. I get muscle fatigue and stuff like that. So I need some electrolytes. So I actually take in some Gatorade. But I usually go for the organic Gatorade because there's no food coloring in that, which is a big thing for me. I hate, food coloring.
Yeah.
So the organic Gatorade lets you avoid that and lets you take in some electrolytes, which helps to calm down some of my twitching muscles sometimes.
I didn't know they made organic Gatorade.
Yeah. It's at Publix and Whole Foods, not Target.
The only drink I do kind of buy that's not amino acids is it's called Protein 2.0.
That I haven't heard of.
Yeah, it's at Publix. You should try it. It honestly tastes delicious. And I drink that because it has 10 grams. It's basically protein-infused water. And now they have a lot of these guys are coming out with protein-infused water instead of the protein shakes, like the milk chalky, gut-wrenching stuff that you have to drink all the time. Now they make it into like where it's a juice, like the ISO 400 is another brand that I drink a lot, and that's my source of beverage because I'm not going to shy away from water. I can't.
It's too important.
Yeah, and I hate sweet tea anyway, so it makes it a lot easier.
So, Jeff, really appreciate the question. Hope that helps you a little bit. And we have one more that we have to get into today. And this one is another two-parter. The first part, I'm a little uncomfortable answering just because it's kind of a medical question, and we always defer to healthcare practitioners and stuff like this. But my friend Jason out in Wisconsin asked, he wants to know how to reduce fat when you have an umbilical hernia. And his second question, which I thought was a really good one, is targeted fat burning the rainbow-maned unicorn of exercise rookies? So the first question, I'm going to do my best just based on what I researched to answer. But again, talk to your healthcare practitioner for anything that deals with hernia type stuff, anything that deals with a medical ailment. But what I did read is you have to avoid straining that area. So if you're doing some of the stuff you mentioned during the Fit Parent Challenge, like those reverse crunches and the bicycle,
you might want
that's
to avoid
the
that.
last thing you want to do when you're suffering from an umbilical hernia. And he says his is small. He doesn't think he needs a procedure or anything like that. So that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. So you want to avoid that. Obviously, no heavy lifting. You can't afford to be straining your body, your core on these 50-pound curls, on these huge 200-pound bench presses. No heavy lifting when you're suffering from an umbilical hernia. From what I read, it's good to try a lot of low-impact stuff. Try the recumbent bike, swim, the elliptical machine, some of these things that'll allow you to burn some fat without straining your core, without, the constant hitting of your feet on the pavement of running and stuff like that. You want to keep it low impact from what I read.
And that's where I was going to go with that is swimming.
Yeah.
Okay. Swimming is very vital to the body, and it's something I should do more. I just don't like taking my shirt off. No, I mean, I just never have time for some reason, the pool is just never on my things to do. And it should be more of what water does. It's almost like being in space. It's weightless.
Protective. Yeah.
It's weightless. There's nothing pulling your body down. You're completely free in the water, and you should shadow box. Whether you have boxing experience or not.
Interesting.
Take a couple swings in the water. A lot of boxers do it to up their speed, but what this will do is allow you to, burn some fat, stay cool so that you're not overexerting that herniated area, and feel weightless on it. You're not going to exert a lot of force, but you're going to burn a lot of fat.
The second part of this, again, I want to read the quote because I laughed at this. The phrasing is amazing to me. Is targeted fat burning the rainbow-maned unicorn of exercise rookies? So basically, I think in layman's terms, he's asking, is targeted fat burning, the ultimate myth? And it is. I mean, this is something that you learn. Now, granted, I will say this. As someone who has, I think, I've been told one of my best features is my arms. I have big arms. I've done a lot of arm days, bicep and tricep. I know what I'm doing in the gym when it comes to arm day above anything else. So my arms might be bigger than some other muscles I have. So in that sense, that's not targeted fat burning, that's targeted muscle building.
Right.
But when it comes to targeted fat burning, you always read stuff like this. Can I shrink my waist and nothing else kind of thing? Or can I expand this part of my leg and not the other? Like these kind of things just don't really exist because it's an all-over burn. It's a calories in versus calories out. A caloric deficit, you're going to lose weight. Caloric surplus, you're going to gain weight and or muscle. You really can't just say, hey, I'm going to shrink my stomach, nothing else. I'm going to see no other changes in my body, or I'm going to target my arms and I'm not going to get any bigger in my chest or anything, because these things, that's just not the way to do it. Targeted fat burning is, I would say, fact. Targeted fat burning is the rainbow-maned unicorn of exercise.
Yeah, no, it's completely useless. It's not true. It's bogus. Any other type of word, debunk it, I guess.
Right.
That with fat burning, and I've said this before to many friends of mine, guys that are already thin and they want to build muscle, I'm always like, all right, time to hit cardio. Well, I don't want to lose muscle. Well, there's no such thing as losing muscle from running, okay? Because you can't lose muscle. You only lose muscle mass. Unless you take a knife and carve out your muscles, you are not losing your muscles. Fat is something that can go away. Muscles are just something that expands or,
deteriorate over time.
Yeah, it grows or it shrinks. It doesn't, wither away unless obviously catastrophic injury. So when you're trying to target muscle burning or fat burning, like you said, you're not burning the fat. All you're doing is building that muscle. And you're technically targeting your muscles and you're not targeting the fat. Fat will always burn faster in your arms, your legs, and then into your belly. And it's fact. Because that's probably it's the thinnest areas, and fat in your stomach is because of your stomach. Your stomach consumes food. It's the first place fat goes, and then it starts expanding out to, your chest and your arms and stuff like that. That's why, when guys lose weight, their arms are the first thing to look thin. It's not necessarily their waist. You may look less bloated because your body's not consuming as much food or less, or more gas particles and stuff like that. You're just kind of looking less bloated. So targeting fat, it's not a real thing.
Yeah, and I love what you said about the cardio, because there's so many of these brofessors on Instagram and stuff that'll tell you too much cardio and you're never going to gain muscle and stuff like that. And I've done cardio for a long time, and I'd still like to say that I built a decent amount of muscle.
You look more jacked with it if you have less fat.
Right.
And that's what cardio is going to do, keep that fat off.
I think in future weeks we're definitely going to have the old cardio debate, and I would even love to get someone on the show perhaps who thinks the opposite of us, and we can talk to them and kind of go back and forth about some opinions like that. So I think we should wrap things up here, but again, just like last week, I don't think it would be nice to get off the air without spreading a little love. I think this is almost becoming like a segment for us. I really liked what we did last week, where we kind of shouted some people out who are doing some good, and touching on mental health and good things like that. So before we get off the air here today, I just want to say to Twiggy, this is my buddy in Australia, I'm so proud of you, man. The work that you've been doing. This is a guy who bought my Ninja Voice shirt after I went on the American Ninja Warrior show a couple years ago. And this is when it was just kind of a thought in his head, the smallest thought of maybe, getting into shape and starting to work out and stuff. And this man has come such a long way. It's unbelievable. He was a part of, I read this unbelievable story about him running in a 4-man, 24-hour race or 12-hour race. I forget if it was 12 or 24-hour race, but just the most unbelievable where you're out for an hour and a half at a time, and then you come back in and you tag your teammate and you sleep because you need to. It's over such a long period of time. It's just these event. He did a ninja competition the other day, out in Australia. Dude, you've come such a long way. I'm so proud of you. I can't wait to see where you continue to go on this journey. Keep killing it, Twigs.
Wow, that's a lot. I don't know how to take that in. That's a lot of motivation right there. You know, if you're listening, I mean, Rudy, if you're listening in, that's you know, that's something to go by. You know, that right there, what you're explaining, that's motivation as well. As far as me, I continue to just go with everyone. I'm proud until you guys prove me wrong.
I liked what you said last week about, and I was even going to piggyback that off next when you said last week that you're proud of anyone who just wakes up and wants to continue living. Like that's a big deal. Even into the fitness area, I'm proud of anyone who's just getting out and doing the littlest thing in the gym, even if you don't think it's doing a lot. If you're going 1 mile an hour, 2 miles an hour on a treadmill for 15 minutes, that's huge. I'm proud of you. Keep doing that. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. One step at a time, you know, just these little, go 1/10 of a mile an hour faster the next day, you know, do 30 seconds more the next day. This is not a competition. Mm-hmm. The only competition is being better than you were yesterday yourself. That's it. Yeah. So anyone who's getting out in the gym, doing big things, I am proud of you.
You know, I do have a special shout out.
I want to hear it.
Because all weekend I was filming the MFC 6 fights, which are the fights up in Melbourne, put on by Muhammad Daris, Mo Muscle. And congrats to all those guys that actually made weight, did what they had to do to competitively fight, kickbox, MMA, whatever your style is, boxing, and including 13-year-old kids that were boxing. You know, I'm proud of you because you went and you did what you're supposed to do. There were a couple fights that the guys didn't make weight or they didn't show up on fight night. And it's a last minute thing where, you know, all of a sudden you don't have a fight because someone didn't want to show up. So I'm proud of the guys who did everything and showed respect for the sport.
That's a huge thing. I mean, I think we kind of take for granted making weight and stuff like that in sports. That is very difficult to do. Mm-hmm. So I think it is very important that we definitely say one more time how proud we are of anyone who's getting out there. We see you. We see you. Keep doing big work. Don't let anyone tell you can't do anything. Don't let anyone take away that motivation from you because you know what? You got a couple of believers here in Elliot and myself. And for Elliot Brownstein and myself, Andrew Imber, thank you so much for listening to the No Name Fit Game, Episode 2. We'll be back next week. Have a great week, guys.